How's it going, guys? Marshall Breakdowns here. Today we're going to be looking at one of the most legendary names in combat sports history, Dan Gable. Dan Gable's famous for winning the 1972 Olympics without surrendering a single point the whole tournament. We'll get started by looking at one of Dan's favorite techniques, short offense from the front headlock. There are two ways to enter a front headlock, offensively with a snap down and defensively after defending the shot. There are two finishes in particular Gable liked to use from his front headlocks. The first is a cowboy or cow catcher. Here's a clip of former All-American from Iowa, Tony Ramos, demonstrating the cow catcher. The cow catcher is typically done with a deep underhook and the other hand controlling the opponent's chin. By then circling your hips into the opponent's hips and driving them over with the underhook, you can force the opponent to their back and you're in the perfect pinning position. Dan does his a little bit differently though. Instead of controlling the chin with the opposite hand, Dan would often control his opponent's forearm with an inside tie or outside tie, leaving them with no post and nothing to stop them from going to their back. Their only hope then was to swim their arm over Dan's head and give up the takedown in order to avoid back exposure. The second finish he used was a standard go behind. This movement's fairly basic, but even many high school wrestlers struggle with this. The key is keeping weight on your opponent's hands with your chest. This prevents them from circling to face you as you let go of your grips to circle behind them. The next technique Dan used a lot was a head inside single leg. Watch how Dan flares his elbow out to get his opponent's arm out of the way. Now he has a direct path to his opponent's legs and inevitably their hips as they defend. Take note of the finish he goes for here. This one was particularly popular with Gable. It was one my coach, who wrestled for Gable and was an All-American under him, showed us all the time. It's called shelving the leg. By pinching the opponent's lower leg between your chest and thigh, you create a situation where it's not only more difficult for your opponent to kick out, but you're closer to their hips, which means you have more reach to grab your opponent's far ankle with your inside hand. Last but not least, it'd be dumb not to mention Gable's insane defense, given he won an Olympic gold medal without getting a single point scored against him. While defense is totally reactional, meaning you don't pick your defense before you apply it, one technique I want to look at is his kick out. So, watch how in this clip Dan's opponent gets in on a high crotch, and he moves it to the crackdown position. The first thing Gable does is get his opponent's shoulder outside his hip by cutting the corner. This puts the offensive guy in a really bad position to try and score from. Next, he needs to get his leg free. So he steps over the opponent's head, turning face down to the mat, and from here, he kicks his foot off the mat while ripping his trapped leg free. The most important part is that as soon as the leg's free, he turns to face his opponent. This is going to keep his opponent from being able to re-attack off the kick out. Here's a clip of him hitting it again against the same opponent. Watch how this time he hits the same move while the opponent has his leg picked up in a high finishing position. Now, let's quickly review three key takeaways from today. First, Gable's front headlocks. Dan Gable's front headlock was one of his favorite techniques. He always found a way to score from short offense, whether it was a go behind or something bigger like a cow catcher. Second, Gable was very aggressive with his takedowns, particularly a head inside single. Once he had it, he often looked to shelf the leg and chase the ankle for the finish. Lastly, was Gable's amazing defense. The kick out we looked at was something he used a lot when an opponent was clinging to a single leg. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe. I'll be posting new content on Mondays and Fridays. Thanks for watching, and good luck training.